Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Gwinnett Business Radio.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gwinnett Business Radio. We are broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. Mike Salmon alongside Stephen Julian. Hello, Stephen.
Hello there, Mike. How are you today?
What is that?
Well, you had such great emphasis on beautiful Sonesta, and I was trying to match your articulation.
Listen,
I failed miserably.
Let me go ahead and tell you that when we get to our third guest here in the show,
yes,
he's going to sound better than you and I combined.
Wow, way to set the bar, way to also put pressure on our guests
that is
before
why
he even gets on the air.
That is why Brad from First Citizens Bank is our last guest, because he would intimidate the rest of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I saw him last night, and I said, oh, my God, your voice is better than Stephen and my voice. And
yet another wonderful guest that sounds better than me. Why do you keep having me on the show? That's a question to our listeners.
Comedy relief.
Yeah, exactly.
We are joined today by Katie Grubbs and Matthew Smith with SuperScribe and Brad Beisbier with First Citizens Bank.
Ooh.
Yes.
Let's get to the guests.
All right. Katie and Matthew, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
SuperScribe, you guys are friends of the program. You were on Business RadioX 5 years ago, had such a great time. We haven't seen you since.
We rushed right back.
What took you so long? But you've been busy because SuperScribe is doing great. So tell us all about your company and what you do.
So SuperScribe started 10 years ago, and we were Atlanta's first medical scribe company, first company based in Atlanta providing scribes. And so our services were scribes go into the rooms, in and out of rooms with doctors. They have computers, and they are in real time charting the patient's medical record. So that was kind of how we got things going. That's what we've been doing for the past 10 years.
And for those people that are not around the health industry, what was the process before there was SuperScribe?
So, back when my father first started as a physician, it was all handwritten notes, and you couldn't read their writing anyway, right? So, So eventually things moved to the electronic phase. And the idea was it would be easier to read, but also that you could share records much easier between hospitals, different facilities, and that type of thing. But that means the doctor has to go sit at a computer and type, and they don't want to do that.
Right.
So our employees allow them to basically go room to room to room and see their patients and not have to worry about going to sit at a computer to document the record.
The notes are scribed in real time.
In real time. So more accurate, higher billing rates, less overtime for them to stay and complete the notes. Does all of those things for them.
Katie, you are the founder, president.
Big kahuna.
Wear
Chief
probably
Poobah.
wear many hats. Matthew, your role there is?
Vice President. So I assist Katie with all the daily duties of the business, help with the Scribe program, and then also working with the business expansion, which has kind of led us to where we are today with our remote patient monitoring devices. So I try to take a lead in our technology initiatives and trying to promote the business, as well as trying to figure out new ways that we can support all of our hospitals and clinics that we work with.
Mike, I don't know if you caught that, but I think Matthew, on his very first answer of this show, just gave us a scoop, right? So you mentioned, I think, something new going on with SuperScribe, remote patient monitoring. Unpack that for me. Tell me more about it.
Yes, so COVID has affected all of us, as we've experienced this year. That means that we've had to try to offer new services, try to figure out new ways to conduct our business. So previously with our scribes, less people were coming to the emergency departments, less people were coming to hospitals, which meant that we had to find a new way to help our hospitals and clinics, as well as the doctors that work there. So telehealth has become kind of the new hot word for this year. For those who don't know what telehealth is, really it's kind of this big all-encompassing term that means that people at home can work with their doctors, communicate, they can do doctor's visits.
Remotely.
So it doesn't have to be from home. You can be on vacation, just using your phone. You can use a tablet as long as you have an internet connection. Previously, it had expanded from just calling your doctor on the phone to now where we're more utilizing the internet, so we can use a smartphone, you can use a tablet, where all these kind of new programs have sprung up, so you can communicate with your doctor. Remote patient monitoring is related to that. It's a bit of a subset, and where it specifically refers to devices. So what we have here, I know you can't see on the radio, but we have 2 devices which work with a wide range of specialties. So we have a blood pressure cuff, which everyone needs to take their blood pressure. It's good for patients who need to monitor their heart conditions, who have lung issues, smokers, COVID especially. We also have a pulse oximeter ring. Pulse oximetry is to measure the amount of oxygen that's in your blood. It's also used in a wide range of specialties, which is why we picked these 2. We took this a step further. Both of ours are Bluetooth, so they're a little more advanced, which means that they connect directly to your smartphone through an app. The app records all the data. It tells you exactly what to do. It keeps all your measurements. It's really great for people who don't have a pen or pencil handy, people who tend to lose things like me. I don't always have a pad handy. It keeps all records. You can send all this data directly to the provider, where it's HIPAA secure, which HIPAA means that everything is secure and safe. Only your doctor will see it. And then the doctor can just, at their office or even at their home, they can take a look at your readings and then address any issues that you may have. It's a great way to kind of reduce the amount of times you have to go into a hospital. It makes it much easier on the patient, especially for rural areas. You don't always have to come to your doctor to visit in person. Don't have to set up a time. People, especially in North Georgia, who have to travel like an hour. I mean, we live here in Gwinnett, and for us to go to Midtown, I mean, that's like an hour there, trying to find a parking spot. The amount of time and money you save, it's well worth it to be able to measure everything at home.
My brain has just gone wow, because my wife, she will order, our groceries and food shopping. She orders it online, goes to the grocery store, they come out and put it in the car. She doesn't even get out of the car.
Right.
This is a whole different level now. I mean, you're getting blood pressure, heart rate, all that stuff remotely. That's amazing. So you really have had to use the popular word during COVID. You've really pivoted the business during this time.
Yeah, we're definitely making the pivot, and we're still offering scribe services. And I plan to continue to expand that kind of portion of the business, and that's what I'm here to do. And we're, letting Matthew take over really these devices and the remote patient monitoring, and our hope is to expand into other devices. One of the things that doctors can really get out of this is there are codes out there that they can be billing for looking at these records. It allows them more, in a way, hands-on time with these patients, talking to them through a Zoom meeting, looking at the records, making sure that the patient is showing an improvement in their blood pressure if they're on new hypertension medications, or if they had COVID and were having respiratory problems, the doctor can actually monitor how their O2 levels are remotely. And so they're helping where they're able to bill for that, which is, obviously important in the medical field.
It matters. Keeps the doors open.
It does.
So
it keeps the doors open.
Yeah, delivering service.
And right now, we have really seen a decline in patients actually coming to clinics, emergency departments. They're scared.
Let me ask you a question, Matthew. So the devices that are here on the table that you described, these need to be in the hands not of the doctors, but of the patients. This needs to be out in the general public. Everybody needs to have this.
Correct.
So they can have access to the telemedicine, if you will.
Yes.
And the way the program works would be the doctor's office or the hospital would give this to a patient so that the patient can be monitored at home and the doctor can be delivering health care remotely.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
So they're super easy to use. Basically, the way the codes work.
What do I win? Sorry. I'm totally interrupting your answer. What do I win?
You win the day.
Yeah, there you go. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
So your patients are your clients are still the doctors then.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So describe. I totally ruined your answer, Matthew. I apologize. So whatever I won, I've now lost by interrupting. But go ahead, say what you were going to say.
No, it's totally fine. No, these devices are super easy to use. We picked these because they are really easy. The pulse oximeter ring, you really literally just put it on your finger, and it turns on for you. As soon as you turn the app on,
No
the data
thinking.
is
That's perfect for
Yeah.
us.
Well,
User
you-
error is almost
That's
nil.
it.
You do have to make sure it's charged.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's all.
That's
that
nice.
you don't plug it into charge ever.
Yeah,
it
but
will stop working.
We're all in a world now where we all know about
Oh my
charging.
God, I'm
I
dead.
have no oxygen in my blood.
What's happening?
And I was going to ask, are there other tools that you currently have in this program, or are there some on the horizon that might be added, or what other tools are available to a doctor's office other than these two?
Yes, so we started with these two because these are the most widely used. They're super easy. They're most simple. What we have on the horizon, another popular one is an at-home EKG. So literally, you just put it against one end against your palm of your hand. You can put it by your chest, or you can put it on your leg. You hold it there for 30 seconds, and it gives you a reading of your heart rate. Tells you like the little lines that tells how your heartbeat looks. It's a really quick and simple, easy way that would be great for people with heart issues.
And the way this is working is, so someone, a doctor is wanting to kind of monitor a situation. Hey, you don't need to come in, or you don't want to come in, but we want to send you this, and we want to just kind of keep our eye on you and monitor how the medicine's working that we gave you, or the prescription, or whatever. And then I'm assuming, just like the SuperScribe service of taking notes, this is all kind of in real time. And if a doctor starts to see a pattern, hey, you need to come in because this is what I'm seeing. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
I think you need that bell again.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Good job.
Hold on. And I'm not going to interrupt. So this time I get to keep it.
And we want the listener to realize that this does not mean, I never have to go see the doctor.
Right.
I mean, if you're having chest pain or
Now
something.
you get the bell. Yes.
Yeah, you still need to go see the doctor. I also want to add for that listener that's hearing all this going, this is very cool. I love this, and I prefer to do this telemedicine this way. They just need to go to their doctor and say, listen, you need to get in touch with SuperScribe.
Yep, that's exactly right. Call SuperScribe. I want these devices, and we'll get it.
And who are your? I mean, I would imagine your main clients are hospital systems, an entire system, but also the general practitioner. I mean, what are, apart from those two, what are some of the other doctors or groups that you guys are trying to get in front of and trying to talk to about this?
The great thing about the blood pressure cuff is almost every specialty
Takes your
can
blood
use
pressure.
it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So for your pulse oximeter ring, you're also looking at ear, nose, and throat, allergy, rheumatology, pulmonology, the cardiology. Those would all be great practices.
And I think this also, I'm kind of thinking through, I have used telehealth a couple of times already. It's part of my service that I have. And I know one of the things is, without stuff like this, you're just kind of going, hey, this is how I feel. And, I did get asked once that, open your mouth and show me your tongue. And I was like, okay, here I have my phone, and there's only so much you can do, right? So here's another, hey, we want to take this to the next, I would imagine, I don't know, man, maybe one of those telehealth companies, everybody there's another level beyond the quote unquote free subscription where if you have these tools, we can do even more in your home. Rather than go to an urgent care, right? Am I giving the dream of SuperScribe here?
The dream of SuperScribe, and I think that,
all right, teledoc, call SuperScribe and get connected. So.
Yes, I think we're going to see more and more devices like this crop up, and they're going to come up with more opportunities out there for us to jump all over.
All right, this I'm allowed to ask one really dumb question every show. I'm risking it on the first guest
You're looking
of
at
the show.
me. That's terrifying.
So here we have a blood pressure cuff, and we also have this pulse oximeter ring. I know that some devices that people are wearing on their wrists, hey, it'll take your heartbeat. Hey, it'll take your pulse, your pulse ox level, and some even talk about EKG. That stuff that's available on the retail to an individual, I know anything is better than nothing. But these devices, is it a different level of capability and monitoring? Can you? I don't want you to throw Apple Watch under the bus. I'm not saying that, but there's a different level, right? Can you talk a little bit about the technology of that?
Sure. Apple Watch is really going to monitor your heart rate, and that's what it does.
Yeah.
Okay. So blood pressure is a different thing. O2 is a different thing. Both, when you connect it to the Bluetooth, will show you your heart rate. So that's great. You're getting that one aspect, but then we're taking it beyond to actually your BP levels and your O2, your oxygen saturation.
And sending it to your doctor. So
And
that
the
they
capability
can,
of sending a log, it's not, a month's worth of data can go directly to your doctor. And for somebody, my mom, for example, she'll probably kill me when she hears this, but she has been on hypertension medication for years, and she's supposed to, she takes her blood pressure, but she doesn't write it down. So when she goes to the doctor, she has like 3 readings for them to look at, which isn't enough data. This clocks it for you automatically. You don't have to think. Just
hey, I like that.
Turn it on.
Don't have to think.
SuperScribe, hashtag you don't have to think.
There you go.
You know what? I think I have a new logo.
We got a marketing message.
New marketing
That was
message. I
great.
like it.
Katie, are you thinking about maybe, because the name of the company is SuperScribe?
It's an interesting
I'm sure you've had
question.
some thoughts about, okay, I might have to kind of rename the company or do something here.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of discussions about this, and actually my attorney has had the same question for me. And my thought process at this point is to get us, off the ground, get us going, let us figure out what's going to be the next device that we add in, and then look at, are we going to rename the company? Are we going to have a subsection of the company? And I don't have the answer for you right now, but if you bring me back in a year, or us back in a
Yes.
year,
When you
I
come back
bet
in 5 years,
we'll
we'll know.
in
the
5
name
years,
of the-
we'll know for sure.
And to be clear, SuperScribe is still, COVID has changed things, but SuperScribe hasn't gone away.
No.
That's still a very necessary
Yes.
service inside the hospital system where
Yes.
people are still going, and hopefully I think we're going back more to that. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And emergency departments are starting to see more patients. We're about to hit flu season, which is typically the busiest time of year anyway. But healthcare changes every year. If COVID hadn't happened, something would have changed in healthcare anyway.
Yeah.
And technology changes every year. And so as a business owner, it was really important for me to start thinking, what do we need to do so that 10 years from now, we're not obsolete? And I don't think scribes are going away, but I think technology is just going to continue to get better and better. And who knows, maybe docs will be able to walk around with something in their ear that just automatically records everything that they say.
I mean, listening to you guys, I'm thinking that there's going to be virtual doctors that don't even have brick and mortar offices anymore.
That also already
it's-
exists. It's a little
Yes.
scary.
Crazy.
But, we've got to come up with ways to expand the business and continue. And Matt's been with us since January, and I hired him kind of as that person who was going to help us figure out what our next steps were going to be. And he had a ton of great ideas and a ton of great connections. And when he brought this forth, our whole office was like, this is cool. And it really is cool.
We haven't spoken with Brad with First Citizens Bank yet, but going into the clubhouse, you are the clubhouse leader as far as coolness. So we'll see what
Ooh.
Brad brings to
Take
the
it.
table. But you got some cool
No
stuff
pressure,
here.
Brad.
have my gauntlet.
For those that would like to reach out, the doctors, the physicians, the hospital systems, all the people that you want to talk to, if they want to make the first call to you, what's the best way to find out more about what you are doing?
We have different ways. You can directly call our office, 770-545-8815. And we also have an email. You can do information@superscribellc.com. They can go to our website as well. We have a contact page. And that'll send us an email directly to, I think still goes to the information email address. So either way, I'll get it. They can email me directly at matthew.smith@superscribellc.com. We can answer any questions, and we're happy to do demos, provide any additional information, brochures, help in any way that we can.
Great. This has been really cool stuff. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Thank you for joining us here on the program.
Thank you for having
thank
us.
you.
Katie, let's not wait 5 years before we get to see
Deal.
you again here at Business
Deal.
Radio X.
We'll be back.
Katie Grubbs and Matthew Smith with SuperScribe here on Business Radio X.
Fantastic. And by the way, before SuperScribe fully takes over and trademarks the hashtag you don't have to think, I want to remind our listeners that they don't have to think about the best place to go buy their next car. Love is what makes a Subaru. Our listeners can enjoy big savings and a hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today, or come in and see the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, then check out their Facebook page for the latest news, offers, and community events.
Shout out to Kim Jones and Steve Kendrick with Subaru of Gwinnett. We were in their office yesterday. They are
Kim.
doing well.
Hey, Steve.
Another record year of sales for Subaru.
Why not? Of course.
Every
They're
year.
the best.
They are.
That is why we come to you from the Subaru
We love
Gwinnett
them.
Studios. Absolutely.
All right, Brad, no pressure now.
No doubt.
Brad Beisbier with First Citizens Bank Area Executive.
That sounds pretty fancy. We're good
Nice.
with titles. Most banks are.
Tell us all about First Citizens Bank and the great work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that was a pretty cool factor interview that you guys just wrapped up. So I've been working on my cool factor, and one thing I did was leave my dress watch at home and put my Apple Watch on. I thought that was
nice.
that was taking a step, but having one of those pulse oximeter rings would be awesome. So I need to work on that. So. Yeah. I would like to wear it. Maybe put on my pinky if it fits. That would be cool. So the cool story about First Citizens Bank, I think, where sometimes people think all banks are just banks and money is green and so forth. We started in 1898, so we're over 120 years old. I need my calculator to do things like that.
You look great for your age.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very much so. So the family that was involved in starting the bank is still owns the bank in as a controlling interest in it. So our stock is traded on NASDAQ. The ticker symbol is FCNCA, but the founding family controls 65% of that outstanding shares. So we are a very big family-owned company, and that in the banking world is pretty cool. Because
don't hear that.
Right. So most of our clients are privately held, family-owned companies that are multi-generational, and so we can sit across the table from them and share thoughts and ideas and in culture and how we aspire to drive our bank forward and our company forward. And oftentimes, in fact, yesterday I was in front of a prospective client and gave the spiel, met them for the first time, and they said, Brad, we use a lot of those same words that you just used in your elevator pitch. In our elevator pitch, so instantly you seem to have a lot in common with many of the folks that we're serving. So a little bit of coolness there.
And I'm my day job is I'm an independent financial advisor, so I'm kind of around the financial, but I don't work for a bank. And in the banking world over the last 10, 15 years, it's kind of been this push to either end of the spectrum. You're either giant and getting more giant all the time. And not that if you're on the other end, you're getting smaller. You're not. You're still getting bigger, but that regional, that local, that community type feel. So obviously, you guys are leaning more toward that. But what are some of the things that you're able to do that you would even say we'll beat the competition of the big? Some people think, bigger is better. This is what we do that's bigger, that's better than those big giant banks.
So we need to get you on the team. That was really well said.
There you go. Hashtag get me on the team.
Indeed. So we instead of using the like the Goldilocks theme, our marketing folks came up with something much cooler than that, and it's where big enough meets small enough.
I like that.
Right?
That's good.
Nice.
That's
where
really
big
good.
enough meets small enough. And so in all seriousness, we think we've got all the products and services and capabilities and balance sheet and lending ability to go out and serve those small to small, medium-sized privately held companies that we serve. And then at the same time, we think we've got the ability to go deliver that in a community bankish type service.
So you've come on Gwinnett Business Radio, and we love everybody that listens to this show. Kind of our target market is business owners, business leaders, people who are involved in the world of business. What are some of the biggest needs right now that you're finding in the business community as First Citizens serves that business community? What are businesses coming to you for?
Sure. Well, 2020, right? I mean, it's been a wild ride. We started off pretty fast, and folks were coming off 2019, most of the time having a good year.
Great economy.
Started 2020 with a bang, and then boom. That there was a little bit of a global pandemic that hit, and with that came a government program called PPP, and so we're really proud with how we served our clients in that manner and kind of delivered service in a way we were accessible to them, and I'd like to think that any of our clients, we're proud of the fact that we were serving them as their banker. So since then, it's been a pleasant rebound, I would say, for most of our clients. There are the occasional few that are struggling a little bit, and we've got a lot of respect for that and trying to help them as much as we can. But then at the same time, we've got a number of clients that very quietly are doing very well and have rebounded nicely. So our ability to continue to lend money to them, to continue to manage their cash, to continue to provide them planning and wealth and financial services, because they're looking forward and they're not looking back at this point.
Brad, let me take a step back. We're talking about how you're big enough, yet you're small enough. Asset size, where you're located, number of branches. I don't think we ever got to that.
Sure. So if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, there are the bigs, insert big bank name, and the trillions of dollars on their balance sheet. And then there's the very smallest community banks that are hundreds of millions of dollars. So we are roughly, a round number would be $48 billion in assets. It puts us right in the middle of the top 100 banks in the country. And again, we don't aspire to be in the trillions of dollars. And we've been actively acquisitive of some of the smallest community banks, because in this environment, especially in terms of the regulatory environment, it's tough to operate as a very small bank. And so we're able to bring some of those very small banks into the fold with us and grow our business that way, in addition to some of the organic growth from some of the networking that we do.
And as far as the main service area, obviously that we're coming to you from Metro Atlanta, Gwinnett County. What's the service area? And I know you could probably find clients anywhere, but
Sure.
What are the key service areas for you guys?
So starting broad, if you looked at a map of the country, we're in 19 states. We've got 500 branches. And so most folks would say, holy cow, I didn't know you guys were that big. And then other folks would, that are coming from a insert big bank name would say, wow, this feels a little bit different than that big bank. So we're in 19 states. We've got a little bit over 500 branches. And in Atlanta, we've been in Atlanta 25 years. We've got 15 offices. A couple of those in Gwinnett County, I think, have been there from the very beginning. So Gwinnett County is an important market for us in Metro Atlanta.
I'm beginning to see why big enough meets small enough. Those aren't just words. There's
Right.
a lot of facts that kind of back that up. When it comes to being in a bank and being here in the Metro Atlanta area for, you said, 25 years, what are some of the ways that First Citizens has been able to get involved? Banks sometimes get, I think sometimes wrongly, bank, they don't care, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you guys are very involved in the community. Talk a little bit about what you've been able to do.
Sure. Community manners, from a marketing perspective, you won't find a mass marketing approach from us. We intentionally don't run TV commercials or billboards, or we intentionally don't have branches on every corner of the city. What we want to do with our team is get involved and have boots on the ground. So we've got a budget, and we financially support partners of ours, both from a nonprofit or chamber perspective. And so what we also do, we don't just write those checks. We get involved. My colleagues are involved in boards of directors. They're out there working on projects with some of our community partners and nonprofits in the market. And through that involvement, I think people get a feel for our culture and how we come to market. And business development just happens as a result of that.
Brad, it's so easy to grow and want to get more and more billions and billions in assets, and so you really have to think about it. We don't want to get that big, that fast. My point is, the message that I'm hearing from you is a message that we have not heard from other financial institutions that we've had on the show in the past. It's very different and very unique. And I'm thinking probably, because you've been in the banking industry for a long time, that this is probably part of the reason you came to First Citizens Bank, because the culture is what attracted you.
No, thank you.
Did I get that right?
Well, I did. Ding ding, right? I felt like I got aged a little bit there, though. I have been in the financial services industry for a long time, and many of us at First Citizens Bank are what I would call big bank refugees, right? We've kind of cut our teeth, we did our time, we learned a lot, and we're very grateful for that. But the ability to serve clients in the way that you think best to serve them, and to have the infrastructure and the framework around you to do that is really supported by a bank the size of First Citizens Bank.
All right, Brad. I said I have one stupid question. I'm taking the fact, it wasn't officially said, but I don't think in the first interview that was stupid. So I still have it available.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to use
Bring
it
it
now. So another big thing when it comes to being in a bank and serving the business community, one thing that kind of sets some financial institutions apart is the small and the startup. You've talked about being community oriented. You've talked about really trying to, that elevator pitch that's very different from some of the big banks. So Is there a market for the small, for the I've only been in business a couple years in the startup type phase? Is that something that First Citizens could potentially be for that sector that sometimes doesn't get a lot of love from the other big banks?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, and very much so. We've got clients that have just started up, and we've got other clients that have been around a long time, but they choose to remain small. And so it's nice to be the size of our organization and have them be important to us.
And I don't know, our listeners are business leaders and business owners. Every business leader, business owner that's listening to this has had interactions with banks, right? I mean, it's a necessary part of doing business.
Yep.
And just the fact that, because some banks, the answer to that question is nope.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I like you, but nope, I can't help you.
Too small.
So here again, where big meets small, and where it doesn't matter what type of bit, at least have a conversation, right?
I think most of our clients would also view us as their partner, right? Not as their vendor or their service provider, where we're doing the hey, just tell us what you need and we'll service with a smile, right? Can I supersize those fries type thing? That's not our approach. We're coming to these conversations with thoughts and ideas and value and advice, and I think that's what clients see value in their relationship with us.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here looking at Brad like he's a two-headed monster, hearing these words come out of a banker's mouth.
I don't see it as a two-headed monster. I see it as a unicorn and an angel mixed together, and it's like, oh, it doesn't exist, and it's so wonderful.
Or a two-headed unicorn.
I want to go on record, by the way, Stephen, that you prefaced a couple questions as dumb questions, and they both were actually very good questions.
I know, I'm playing.
Does not mean you get to carry them over to the next show.
Dang it!
So you still only get one for the next show.
I'd like to point out that you wanted to ring the bell so bad that you went, "That was good, right? Was that good? Is that bell worthy? Should I ring the bell?" I mean, you just
I needed
really
that, I needed that confirmation.
You needed that win.
Feeling a little weak.
Hey, wait
today.
a minute. We still got a guest. We got to finish this interview.
Brad Beisbier with First Citizens Bank. For those businesses that would like to have a conversation with you or any of your associates or find out more about First Citizens, what should they do?
Sure. FirstCitizens.com is great if you don't already know somebody locally, but we've got offices across Atlanta, and by all means, you can reach out to any one of us that you'd find.
Great stuff.
And I would imagine every branch is, most every branch, if not all of them, have some kind of person inside the branch that works with the local business community.
Yep, that's right. And somebody's going to pick up the phone and answer it.
And there again, big enough meets small enough, because you go to some small banks and it's like, oh yeah, you got to go to that one branch we have way over there on the other side of the county. Man,
you just used up your dumb question.
No, that wasn't a dumb question.
I'm assuming there's a person in each branch.
No, that handles business.
Of course.
That's not, of course, Brad. Are you going to back me?
That's true. I got your back here.
Dang.
Ring the bell.
There are,
There you go.
and I didn't even ask for it.
No, don't ring the bell. You
Because
don't get a bell for that.
listen, there are some small banks, and not to throw them under the bus, but you've got, they got 25 branches or whatever, and in order to meet with the business person, you got to go to this one or two branches. So here we go. Big enough meets small enough. Hashtag. I love it.
Brad, great job. If we had not overrung the bell so far, I'd ring it for you, but we've already gone over our limits.
I will.
No, Stephen.
Well done. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Brad Beisbier with First Citizens
I was
Bank.
already going to get fired because Brad has such a great voice. You're going to ask him to come back and co-host the next show and not have me come back.
Some tells me Brad's done this before.
He's done it a few times.
He was good. Great stuff. And great. I mean,
actually, something tells me that Brad, as an area executive of a wonderful bank, isn't really scared of two podcast hosts in a Gwinnett studio.
No, that was great. I mean, interesting stuff about it. Interesting, things I've never heard from a financial institution before, and then cool medical stuff from SuperScribe.
Yeah, I love it. Medical, healthcare, and financials. I mean, this is great.
Maybe our best show ever.
Maybe
8 years.
Maybe.
Ever.
Now, any former guests who've been on the show who hear that,
we still love you.
We still love you, and your show was fantastic. But this one, man, it was really good.
It's kind of like Dan Patrick and some people do. Whichever show they do, the next show is always the best show
it's the
ever.
Best show ever.
Yes,
that's wrestling.
Anyway, I want to thank our listeners. A reminder, you can enjoy this show anytime. If you want to hear it again, just go to businessradiox.com, select the Gwinnett Studio, and click on Gwinnett Business Radio. The show is also available on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, iTunes, whatever it may be. We're out there. And please follow us on social media at Gwinnett Radio X. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We're all over the place.
I can't say something that this was the best show ever, the best produced show by Amanda ever.
Thank you, Amanda, for producing the show. And for our listeners, thank you for joining us. For Stephen, I'm Mike. We'll see you next time here on Gwinnett Business Radio.